multifamily investing is really honestly the cornerstone of creating generational wealth. And one of the things that people ask us all the time is why multifamily investing? Like, why did you and Jeremy decide to do this? And I have to tell you that Jeremy is a retired flight paramedic for the Maryland State Police. I am a nurse anesthetist by trade. And we sat down and had dinner with my friend and colleague, Leslie. Leslie and I actually went to school together for anesthesia in 2012. And, Jeremy and I were at the same time contemplating exactly, what we wanted the next 5, 10, 15 years to look like. And I saw that Leslie was doing all these really cool things in the real estate world, and I didn't really know what it was because I was like, well, he's not flipping houses, he's not doing this, and he's talking about investing and diversifying your income and all these things. So I called him up. We met for dinner. We had an amazing dinner for 3 hours, and all we sat there and talked about was real estate investment, multifamily properties, and how uh, passive income was something that was being generated by investing in multifamilies. So obviously, multifamilies, you see the picture there. We're going to talk about the rise later, but multifamily properties are apartment buildings. And I don't know about you, but I think most people at some point in their life grew up or lived in an apartment building. And I certainly did for about 4.5, 5 years. And I always thought that it was like one big investor or one person who owned it. No one really, I had no idea who owned these properties. And I was like, wow, like it must just be one person. And I feel like we kind of all drove by those properties at some point and was like, okay, who owns these? And when I got talking to Leslie and how his story started, Leslie is a former CRNA who worked locally here in Baltimore. He and one of his colleagues, and also one of our strategic partners, alongside Leslie, Dr. Julius Oni, worked at Johns Hopkins Bayview, and they were having these conversations about investing. And the reason why I'm giving you this backstory is because this is how this all started. And they really were just talking about different investment strategies. And I don't know about you, but I didn't have 20 or $30 million. Dr. Oni, an orthopedic surgeon, didn't have 20, $30 million. Leslie didn't either. And what they started to discover is the same thing that Jeremy and I have discovered, with Leslie and Tenny Tolaferri and Dr. Julius Oni about multifamily real estate is that, we pool our resources together and we are able to invest in these assets that previously we wouldn't have been able to do. These were assets that seemed like not within reach. And as Leslie and Jeremy and I were sitting at dinner and he laid out how this works, we were so excited to learn more. And so we started this journey in December of 2023, and we have been working, very closely and working very hard in the multifamily space. And we are excited because passive income really is the way to go. And it's something that we oftentimes don't think about because we're working so hard for our income. And I want to share with you guys how all of this works and how it is now something that all of us can take part in. This question I get all the time. Is it the right time to invest? I actually just had a conversation earlier this evening. Somebody called me and we had this conversation about, is it the right time to invest? All of you know that the stock market is going haywire. It's volatile. And we're all watching our 401ks and all of our investments, and we're seeing, the red, and we're seeing, the variation in what is going on day to day. And here's what I want to tell you. Uh, and this is me telling you this, but everything I'm about to tell you right now is something that you guys can all research on your own and confirm on your own. Real estate goes into market cycles, and real estate is something that really, especially multifamily, really stands the test of time for all cycles in the market. A lot of people right now are trying to time the market, and you just can't. If you look at history and you look previously with anything, market cycles are just market cycles. Um, if you think about something that happened, how the economy was in 2008, it's when a lot of investing occurred, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But really what's happening now is you are having people like Wall Street, insurance companies, big businesses. They have been literally stashing their cash on the sidelines, waiting for this very moment right now. And the reason why, if you look at all of that and what Wall Street is doing, they have so much capital on the sidelines because they are ready to snatch up all of these properties in this market right now that are distressed and coming to us at a discount. And it's we'll go over some of that information later, but that's exciting. This is what big insurance companies are doing. And guess what? Now, as professionals who are working hard for their income, these same assets are available to us. And so, as you'll learn and you do your own due diligence and your own research, you will find out that it really is just real estate cycles and how the market is right now. And to my point, Brookfield, they literally have raised $5.9 billion in the first quarter. $5.9 billion they have raised just sitting on the sidelines waiting to ramp up, and they are ready. You have private equity real estate fundraising that has literally jumped from $32.5 billion in quarter one for 2024 to $57.1 billion in quarter one for 2025. And this is serious business. And this is what you have to watch. This is what smart investors do. And this is what the big, super big smart investors are doing. And the big institutional investors are just waiting on the sidelines, ready to snatch up these deals across the United States. So when we talk about this, and we talk about the distressed market and what a strategic opportunity really means, what it means is what I just said. It's really the perfect time to secure assets, and here's why. It's not necessarily because properties are not getting ran properly. It has to do with the fact that loans that were taken out, in 2021 are now coming due. And because of that, and the way that the market is, a lot of these sellers are not able to sell at the price that they want to. And so the lenders are calling these properties due, and their investors are not wanting, to do anything else with the property because they want to sell. And I'm excited because the property that I'm about to tell you guys, The Rise, which is why you're here, we're going to tell you a cool story about that. So this little thing right here where you see $1 trillion in commercial real estate loans are maturing, $1 trillion. That is a huge amount of money with loans maturing, which all that means is opportunity to buy these properties at a discount. So if you see CoStar right there is our industry leader. They are the industry leader in the United States and Canada for providing data and analytics on all of these properties across the United States. I think it's well over like 7.3 million properties that they have data and analytics on. a lot of these, borrowers have just faced, financial challenges due to higher interest rates. Maybe they had, an adjustable rate, and they didn't anticipate that rates would go to a certain level, and it wasn't fixed rate debt when they bought it. And so, and now these loans are coming due. And the rise is, the perfect example of the market situation, and you're going to hear why in a few. Stick with me. Um, One of the things that we talked about was in 2008, it was the biggest real estate crash in history. This was the time that Blackstone bought $12.5 billion in assets, because a lot of people in that situation, in 2008, they get scared and they hold on to everything, but it's actually the perfect time to buy real estate at a discount. And that's exactly what they did. And if you fast forward to where we are now, they are, everybody knows Blackstone. Everybody knows that they have 12.5 billion in assets right now. And that's because they took advantage of that market crash in 2008. So if you think about it now, this is the exact situation that we are in again with multifamily, and in the sense that these properties are coming at a discount, um, like right now, and the future of investing is very promising. So, all this means is that there is going to be a huge inflow of cash into real estate. And like we talked about, there's a lot of capital on the sidelines right now. And so, what does that mean for us? It means that there is an exceptional opportunity for people like us who are working hard for our money to invest in these properties, get passive income, and also take advantage of the tax deductions that come with it. And our community really has an advantage that few do. I don't know if you guys have seen on social media or heard, but in March, we closed on a $49.1 million property in Grove Parkview, which is also in Georgia. The Rise is in Conyers, Georgia. And because of the amazing effort and time and energy that went into getting that property and taking down that property.
Yeah, that's what's so good for the kids.
It's 268 units. We have a huge network of people and credibility in the market. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. I may actually have Tenny tell you the story because he's got quite the story. So here's how this all works, right? A lot of people don't understand that you can leverage your 9 to 5 jobs. It's one of the most, and Jeremy and I, had we known this 5 or 10 years ago, we most certainly would have stepped into this space a lot sooner. But you have your capital, your income, your steady income of your foundation for building wealth, right? Um, your stable credit score, your employment history, it gives you the ability to secure financing, and your professional network, all the connections that you're making from your career, they can become your investment partners. And obviously, it's industry knowledge. So your expertise, what you can pass on to other people and inform them of strategic investments. Sorry. It's the fact that you can also share with them, hey, like this is another way that you can diversify your income, but this is passive. Everything that we've all done up until this point is active. If we don't work, we don't get paid. If we don't work, we don't get paid as much as we should when we do work. If we have an emergency or a disability or something that causes us to lose that steady stream of income, this is really where you can leverage your 9 to 5 and what you're doing and how hard you're working in order to gain passive income, so that you're buying back your time, and you're building something that allows you, you're building a portfolio that allows you to take a breath and realize that, you know what? I have this steady stream of income coming in, and I don't always have to rely on my 9 to 5 for that. And it's a great way, you know, to do that. And I think it's most important that all of us work hard for our money, but it would be amazing to have our money work just as hard as we are. And that is one of the key takeaways, that Jeremy and I really, really took to heart when we sat down with Leslie. And we were so excited. We literally want to shout this from the mountaintops, to people so that they know you know, what they have available to them as well. So okay, here we go. The Rise Apartments. This is why you guys are here. I'm super excited to talk about this, but I have to tell you a story. Okay. So our strategic partners were actually in Nigeria at launching you know, their other half of Excite Capital. And it was a huge, huge deal. And during that time, we were all celebrating that we were awarded the Rise. We were excited, and celebrating. They were celebrating, and back home, we were here celebrating. And then we got a call. And when that call was over, we found out that the seller decided to award this property to somebody else, even after we submitted the letter of intent on this property. So you can imagine the emotions went from celebrating to, okay, why? Why? Here's what I'm going to tell you. We did not panic. And one of the things of the takeaway is when you are, transparent, you're working hard, you have credibility, you have proven track record. Uh, this property came back to us. And not only did it come back to us, the reason why the seller took it away in the first place was because he wanted to close quicker and somebody gave him a little bit of a higher offer. And as you can see, we're presenting the Rise to you today, and it came back to us. And we're excited about this because it not only came back to us, but it came back to us $700,000 cheaper. So we got it at a $700,000 discount, which means there's equity in this property already, and it's a property that's already cash flowing. And so I cannot wait to tell you about this. Why do we love this deal? Okay. And listen, if you guys have any questions, please throw them in the chat. Like as I'm talking, I want you guys to throw questions in the chat. So if there's anything that I'm going over or I went by something too fast, please, please, please don't be shy. We're going to do some questions and answer, at the end. And I don't want you guys to be shy. Anything that we can answer for you, we are excited to do that. So here's why we love this deal. Our, Grove Park View that we closed on in March is in Atlanta, Georgia. The Atlanta metro area is growing rapidly. The Rise is in Conyers. Okay. It is southeast of Atlanta. It's about 20, almost 25 miles. It's an amazing suburb of Atlanta. So people who are working downtown, they get that suburb feeling and they're not living in the hustle and bustle of the city. It's literally only 35 minutes from, Atlanta Airport, the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, which we all know is one of the busiest airports in the country. And not only that, but it is 42% lower cost than living in downtown Atlanta. One of the most exciting things are all of the businesses that are investing in the Georgia market, the Atlanta area. Amazon literally just decided that they were going to invest $10 million into that area. Rivian is another one. There's a Meta is putting a data center, in that Atlanta area. So you can imagine that this property is positioned to really cash flow, and it already is, and here's why. When you have a property like this and you don't have any other properties coming to market, it drives up demand. And one of the biggest economic developments that's happening, because all of these people are moving into this area and it's growing rapidly, the highway that runs I-20, that runs right, not right next to the property, but within that area, is 2 lanes right now. They're expanding it to 4 lanes because of the growth. So, they are anticipating it. And even more so, I don't know if you can see down there on the slide, but they call it like Atlanta, like the Georgia Hollywood, because you have the movie industry is investing and already there. It's a huge, huge popular area for a lot of movies and film and TV. Um, you know, literally $24.6 million that they've generated in local spending with the movies and, Warner Brothers and Fox production and all of that. So we're excited about the growth. And one of the things that I want to talk about right now and why we love this deal is because one of the most important factors when we are considering properties is the due diligence. And what does that mean? That means that we are going to these properties, we are going inside of every single unit, we're checking the HVAC, we're checking the electric, we're checking the pool, the dog park, we're talking to the residents, we're checking the landscape, we're checking the roof, the windows, the flashing, everything that goes into these properties. Line by line, we are scrubbing these properties to make sure that everything that we see in person is matching all of our income, all of our expenses, and everything makes sense. And if we are satisfied with that due diligence, then we move forward with that. And I will tell you that the level of excitement coming back from the due diligence was amazing. And this is a stable 2022 build. So it's a very new property with very little need for deferred maintenance. There's very little deferred maintenance because it is a new property, which is exciting. So let me just tell you a little bit about the property summary. Okay. So the purchase price was 25.3 million. Like I told you, year built 2022, it's 128 units. There are 4 buildings, and the debt is we bought this debt at 5.5%, so very, very low. And so that's exciting because this is fixed rate, okay? Fixed rate debt is important. And the way that we have targeted these returns with all of our conservative underwriting is 15 to 18% on the annual average return. And what does that mean? That means that every year you are making anywhere from 15 to 18%, but we broke it down even more. We made this very simple. It is a 2-tiered structure, 2 classes for investors. Class A, if your minimum investment is $100,000, this means that you're prioritizing cash flow. Okay, that means that you just want the cash flow, and after debt gets paid on this property, you are at the top of the capital stack. You get priority over anyone else, but there's no profit share. So Class A just prioritizes the cash flow. Now, if you're moving and you're a lot of the healthcare professionals and investors and some people on this call, like they tend to go more towards wanting the cash flow and they want the appreciation for this property. And what does that mean for the appreciation? I didn't go over that previously, but what does that mean? We are excited for this property because it has deferred maintenance, meaning because it's a new build, it has very little, very little maintenance that needs to be done. We are excited to add things, and I'll go over this in a minute, that are going to add value to our tenants, because at the end of the day, we want our tenants to be happy and we want our tenants to enjoy living there. So moving on to Class B, minimum investment is 50,000. You get a 6% preferred return per year. And then when it's time to sell, it's an 80-20 split, which means our investors get 80% and the GPs, myself, and I'll show you some of the other GPs on this, get the 20. That 6% and that profit share is how we got our 16.1% average rate of return. And here's the exciting news. Because we are very conservative in our underwriting, past properties have generated higher annual average returns. And that is what we are excited about, because as investments,
They take on the Chicago White Sox. First pitch set for
there we go. It's okay. So what does this look like? I just want to break this down for you guys, because I know this is a lot. This is kind of a lot of information. What does this mean? This means that for Class A, it's $100,000 minimum investment. You get a 10% preferred rate of return, which means each year your distribution is 10%, and that's paid quarterly to you. Okay, so 10% paid as a total each year. And then over that 5 years, your $100,000 investment, you're getting $50,000. Okay, so you get not only the $100,000 back, you're making passive income of $50,000 on that money. Okay, Class B. This is where you get that 6% preferred rate of return. You get that every year, and that 6% is every year, and that breaks down quarterly. So your distributions and passive income are quarterly. What does this look like at the end of 5 years? Okay, as you can see, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, you get your initial investment back, plus you're making $80,000 passive income while you're sleeping, not lifting a finger, and not dealing with tenants, termites, and toilets. Jeremy and I decided early on, we are not flippers, we are not renovators, and it's not our thing. So this is passive income while you're sleeping. All right, so let's just talk about use of the funds. The purchase price, $25.3 million. That's $700,000 less than what was initially offered to them. So we have that equity. So acquisition fee. Okay, the acquisition fee is 3%. That comes out to the $749,000. What is the acquisition cost? These are lender fees. These are lender fees, insurance, and things that in the back end, we have to spend money on in order to acquire this property. And so that is costing us 1.2, a little over 1.2 million. The value add, what does value add cost mean? That means in a property like this, if we decide we're doing interior, exterior renovations, it's a value add, meaning that we're going to upgrade certain things, we're going to add value to the community in a way, and then over that 5 years when we're adding these items, whether interior or exterior, adds value to the property and appreciates the property. So because this property is a new build in 2022, we are going to add things like smart locks, smart thermostats. There's some upgrades we want to make to the dog park. We're considering valet trash. These are all items. And the good news is that value add cost, we set aside $553,000. So we have that built in to our safety net of what we want to do. And even more importantly, we have extra money set aside in our operating reserves, because that means when we're looking at our income and we're looking at our expenses, we have additional money that in case something happens, like there's a roof or, you know, something major needs to get replaced, we're able to do that as well. That and so total cash at closing is 28 million. The debt financing on this, the loan amount itself is 15 million. This is very, very, very low leverage, 60% loan to volume. That's amazing. We have a fixed rate of over 5%, a little over 5%. Our projected hold is 5 years. Why do we hold for 5 years? We hold 5 years because of the passive income and the cash flow that we're able to provide. And it allows us over time to appreciate the property with our interior renovations or exterior renovations. And because this property is a new build, we aren't really going to be touching necessarily the interior, but we do have some cosmetic things that we plan on, you know, on fixing or upgrading. And obviously this loan, as you can see, is over 30 years. Now, this is a big one. This is what gets everybody excited as well. So you're getting passive income while you sleep. And the biggest thing is tax savings, okay? So on a $100,000 investment, it yields a $23,000 in tax savings through depreciation. And what does that mean for you? That means that your passive income coming in, you get this depreciated loss of $23,000, which means that you're not paying taxes on that money. And obviously I'm going to tell you, please make sure you, you know, you consult your CPA, your accountant, for, you know, to verify all this. Here's the exciting part. Right now, this is, you know, through bonus depreciation, and you guys can check this out too. But right now, it's already gone through Congress, and we're waiting for it to go through the rest of the way through that process. If we get back our 100% bonus depreciation, that means that that 23,000 turns into $40,000. It's 100% bonus depreciation. Now, it does not only include the passive income from this investment, but if you have other passive income coming from somewhere else, then you can apply this tax deduction to that passive income. And so this is really where people get excited. You'll get a K-1 report from us, and you know, that's something that you're going to share with your CPA. And this is one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people invest in real estate is not just the passive income, but it is the tax depreciation that you get. And you know, I don't know if Leslie wants to step in to explain anything further about that, but feel free to, Leslie, if you wanted to offer a comment about that. All right. So again, this area is a huge, the job market is premier. So you have all these different, you know, employee or employers coming in, and you have, you know, I-70 South, you have Midtown, you have downtown, you have the airport, and you can see the amount of jobs that are coming in. New jobs in Midtown, 29,000. You know, downtown, I-70 South, you have 162,000 vehicles per day. You know, there's so much growth. It was palpable when the due diligence was being done, because so many of the residents, like even not just the property, but when you drive around, you know, the team doing due diligence was so encouraged by the fact that like the residents themselves are excited about the growth in this area. The unit mix is great. It's 2 bedrooms, 75% are 2 bedroom. You know, the residents love this. The people coming in love the 2 bedrooms. You know, there's 96 of them. As you can see, there's 24 1 bedroom, and there's, you know, 8 3 bedrooms. But 2 bedrooms is really, you know, what the residents are loving, and also people coming in who are wanting to live at this property. So here's a couple pictures that I am excited to show you guys. This is the building exterior. It's super contemporary design. The building, it's professional landscaping. The leasing office is super modern. It's very pretty. The living spaces are so incredibly spacious. And I don't know about you, but anyone that's lived in an apartment, you love an open floor plan. Nobody likes feeling like they're living in a cramped, apartment. And the living spaces here are open and they're premier. You can see the granite countertops, the vinyl plank flooring is amazing, and the bedrooms are spacious with a lot of natural light. So I wanted to show you guys this slide to show you like the top employers in Conyers. We talked about Warner Brothers. We talked about Stonebridge. We talked about, Rivian and Meta Data Center and what Amazon is doing there. So this gives you just a quick glance. Here is the big boost. It's $19 billion boost. And this is what I was talking about before. 7,500 jobs, $11.6 billion projected for Rivian. You have the Meta Newton data center. You have the Newton Technology Park. And then you have the bioscience facility. Look at the amount of money that's being invested in Georgia for all of these employers. So and all that does is equal job growth. So here we go. I told you it was the Hollywood of the South. So if you've seen like The Walking Dead or any of these other, series or movies, a lot of them took place in Georgia. And so they spent nearly, these two companies, as you can see, they spent nearly $7 million in lease payments and annual payroll. So we're excited about that. A couple awesome other quick pictures. The unit amenities are amazing. High-speed connectivity because we're all streaming all the things. And then we have AI, modern kitchens, in-unit laundry. Love the in-unit laundry. It's very pretty. Tankless water heaters. And then some of the site amenities. It's a beautiful property. You can see the pool. You can see the outdoor grilling area. You can see, the dog park, the playground, and, just that outdoor area. It's a saltwater pool. So people really feel at home here because they're able to live outside. There's so many outside amenities. And obviously, you guys know that's us right here. And what we're very excited about is when we talked about tenants, termites, and toilets, we talked about the fact that in single family homes, people really don't want to deal with those 3 a.m. calls. Fortis Property Manager is a leader in the industry. The actual owner who started this business is an investor themselves, and they have over 10,000 units managed nationwide, and they have like 38 plus years experience. And we are excited to, have them as our partner, our strategic partner. So, they have excellent experience. So let's talk strategic partners. Who do we have, involved in this property? So we have Excite Capital. We've talked about, Leslie and Tenny and Dr. Julius Oni. They have $217 million in assets under management. And they've been in the business now almost 7 years. And they have a huge network of amazing people. And so we tap into that network as well. EM Capital and Chris Lento, he's got 21 years of multifamily experience. Phoenix Capital, Dr. Enkem and Ziamama, she is amazing. She's actually an ER physician and who is now a real estate investor. And she is an amazing partner and amazing thought leader in this space. And we have Crest City Capital. Brad, he's done $132 million in real estate transactions. So we have an amazing team behind us as far as, these investments. And we look forward to investing in more properties in Georgia due to the growth. We're excited. So there'll be more coming down the pipeline for sure. So some of you may have some questions about how do we do this? What is the first step? So how this works is there should be a link in the chat. And if you don't get it, I can send it to you, but I think Addie's going to throw that in the chat for us. We have a portal, and in that portal, you're going to see very, very detailed documents about the property. This is a chance for you to do your own due diligence. This is a chance for you to see if this is the right investment for you and your goals. And if you have questions about that, obviously Jeremy and I are available to ask questions if for a one-on-one call. But what you're going to see in that portal is the subscription documents. And what do I mean by that? So you're going to see the investor deck, which is much more detailed information about the property. You're going to see the legal forms in there. So obviously our real estate attorney has done, all of those documents, and it'll give you a chance to literally look over everything line by line. We've had so much interest in this property, even before, the LOI was, signed and the property was given back. People were very excited about this opportunity. I will tell you that spots are filling up fast. If you fill out and sign your documents, you have not secured your spot yet. And the way to do that is actually to wire your funds. And then obviously the goal is for you guys to sit back and enjoy your passive income and your tax deductions. And that's how that works. So questions. If you have any questions at all, throw them in the chat. Jeremy and I would love to answer those for you. The link is in the chat for the documents for you guys to look over and see. And we encourage you to do your due diligence on all of it. We hope that this presentation for you kind of opened your eyes to multifamily, how it works, and what the benefits are for us as our, high income earners, and how our money can work for us. And so do we see any questions, Addie? Do we have any questions yet?
Not yet.
Okay, no problem. If we don't have any questions, or you guys would just like a one-on-one phone call with myself or Jeremy, we're happy to do that too. I'll leave it open here just for just a few more seconds. Anyone is typing or has questions, feel free to put it in the chat. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time. We're so grateful. You could have spent your time anywhere else, and you decided to pop on and spend it with us. And we are truly grateful and appreciative that you guys did that. So have a great night, and we hope to hear from you guys. We're excited.
Amazing job, Leah.
Thank you.
Very insightful. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Dennis, I see you're still on. Maria, do you guys have any questions? We're happy to answer. Dennis, I know that you're one of our experienced investors. So, Maria says, go back to why the $100,000 investment is $150,000 return in 5 years. But 50,000.
Class A versus Class B.
Yeah, it's Class A versus Class B. So you have two opportunities and two routes as to how you want to invest. So you can either be the Class A investor, and if you're investing $100,000 and you're getting 10% preferred rate of return, that's $10,000 every year. And so it's over the hold period. So the total of that 10,000 over 5 years is 50,000. So you get your $100,000 back plus the $50,000 in passive income. For the Class B investor, if you're wanting cash flow and you want part of the profit share at the end, which means when we sell the property, that means that you're going to get that 6% every year over the course of 5 years. And that comes to 180,000, including the profit share when we sell. And that's where that 16% 15% comes from. And that equates to a little over $180,000. Did that answer your question, Maria? I hope so. Okay. That's a great
Sorry,
question.
I don't know if I'm like on mute or not. Am I on mute?
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay, not anymore. Okay, no, I got it. Okay, so you're assuming it's sold in 5.
Yeah, and if it doesn't sell in the 5 years, what we do when it gets close to the sale of the property, we put feelers out into the market, and we're looking to see, what the market is doing, and that's basically what we call a broker opinion of value, or a BOV. We start putting feelers out based on the market, and if it comes back to us that in 4 years we're able to sell the property and the timing is right in the market, then we are wanting to get our investors a much higher return. And oftentimes what happens is when we're underwriting conservatively at that 16%, previous properties have come back with over 20% on that return. And if we decide to sell before the 5 years, we are obviously going to run that by our investors and, hey, this is what we're doing. And in the off chance that when it's 5 years comes and we don't like what we're seeing as far as selling, our job is to protect our investors first. Our job is to bring our investors the max amount of return and income off of the sale. If we decide that it's not looking good, we're going to tell you guys that. And there's a possibility that we would do a cash out refinance and pay our investors and then maybe wait a year to see how the market does and then sell.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
got
Great
it.
question.
Okay,
Love it.
so okay, all right. So it's kind of like a 5-year plan.
It is a 5-year
It's-
plan, and that is our,
Okay.
that is our hold. That's our business plan. Sometimes we hold properties for 7 years, but the average is 5 years. So whatever comes first, as far as our investors are concerned, and what the market is doing at that time. So
Okay,
yeah.
so plan A or whatever, class A, plan A, whatever. The A people, it's either money in, money out for 5 years, basically. And then the B people are a profit share with a slightly less return on income.
Yeah, because
Okay,
we're-
right? But you get the profit share at the end with the sale.
that's correct. And so the
Okay,
people,
okay, I got
yep,
it.
the people who in class A are prioritizing cash flow. So that's why they don't get the profit share at the end.
No, don't get the profit share, but they get all their money back.
Yes. And then
Got it.
some. Yeah.
And then some, right.
Mhm.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I
Okay.
got it. Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome. Great question. I love it. No, keep it
Okay.
coming. Keep it coming.
That's all I got. That's the only good questions that I have.
Okay. I'm glad you asked it. Dennis, do you have any questions? I know you're
Leah,
still hanging on.
Just one real quick one.
Sure.
What's your time frame for getting
Oh.
getting your money in?
Yes, sure. So we're looking to close July 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at around July 8th, and that's what we're hoping to do. But that's our target date. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Do you guys have any more questions? These are all great questions. I really appreciate them. All right. Well, thanks for popping on, you guys. I appreciate your time. I'm so grateful. Thanks for, sharing this last almost hour with us. And if you have any questions, definitely give us a call. Shoot us a text. And then you guys saw in the chat, make sure you, copy and paste, click on that portal, because that's going to give you all the detailed information that you're going to want to do your due diligence on yourself. Okay. All right, guys, have a great night.